What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email me, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Really proud to announce sponsorship, a partnership, if you will, we've got with Ticket King. Okay, so we're bringing Ticket King on board. They are now the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. Really excited, like I said, about partnering up with them. Guys, they've been Wisconsin-based since 1992. They specialize in Packer tickets, Wisconsin's largest ticket source as well. What's really cool is they've got an office right over there next to Lambeau Field, so it's local. We want to support those local guys, right? And they've also got an office in Milwaukee as well. So really cool setup that they've got going on, because, you guys know I'm located down here in Tennessee. And when I go to their website, it automatically matches up my location, right? So it shows all of the different events that are in my area just by going through their website. Okay. And it's really important to understand that website is theticketking.com, not ticketking.com, theticketking.com. All right. There's going to be a link for their website in the description of this YouTube video. And guys, listen, the schedule is going to release in May. We want to flood them with business. All right. Let's show them how much we appreciate them supporting the show here. I know I've had another source that I've always got my tickets from. I'm really excited about switching all of my business over to Ticket King. So again, that's Ticket King, located right next to Lambeau Field. They also got an office there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin based, and serving Wisconsin, really everyone since 1992. So excited about partnering up with them. Now we've got Carly Ray in the house. We've got Jacob, the Beard himself, here live on the show. Excited to talk a little bit of Packers this morning. I know Carly's got a really cool topic we're going to hit on. Many people have been talking about it. I was trying to let the dust settle a little bit before we hit on it, and Carly brought it up today, which was perfect timing. So with that being said, Paul Robertson already in the chat. AFAM uses Ticket King for Disney on Ice events. You love to see it. Jacob, how you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, man. I slept really hard last night, so I'm glad we had to push back 15 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I had to wake up and do some business stuff, and last second kind of was like, oh, crap. Yeah, we're out of time. Looky here. So, and Carly was messaging me going, hey, I got those graphics you asked for. And I'm just over here running behind. So, Carly, if it wasn't for Carly this morning, this show probably would have got pushed back to 11, to be honest with
you. Carly, were you the girl in class that raised their hand for homework when the teacher would ask, does anybody want homework? And you were the only girl that put their hand up. Was that you?
No, I didn't never want extra homework.
Okay. All right.
What kind of question is that?
We'd have to roadhouse right off the podcast.
Sorry, Jacob. I got to do it to you. It's early, but I got to hit you with it right there.
As you get it. Please stop it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Carly gets freaked out more than I do.
Carly, how you doing this morning?
I'm great until that.
Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to mix them in. I'm telling you, I'm going to get Anthony Munoz. I'm going to get Brian Baldinger. We're going to have them all in one screen grab facing each other. All the pinkies. We could play Guess the Pinky. You know what I'm saying? That'd be fun, right? Yeah. Guess the Pinky. Anyway, Carly, you have a pretty cool topic you want to hit on. You've got access to those images over on the right too. So if you want to just pull them up as you need them, I slid them up underneath the great Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, just so you guys know, here in the the production office, if you will, virtual office. He's kind of the benchmark here on the images. Everything below the GOAT is where we're doing the show. Okay, so that's how my mind. All right, you guys know. Go ahead, Carly, take it away. What you got for us?
All right. So first of all, I'm just going to explain a little bit because I didn't know what even the National Football League Players Association report card was. So it's only been going on for 2 years. And what it is it's a survey that is done of all the active NFL players during the season. And last year, I believe 1,300 players responded, 1,300 over all 32 teams. And this year it was over 1,700. So that is just a great response rate for these just a great response rate to these questions of like the facilities that they have, the food, the different things like that. And the purpose of it, I was digging into it, is to especially to give free agents more of an idea of what things are like at the place that they might be considering going to, because these are players' opinions. They use quantitative data, so numbers ranking, and they also use qualitative data, like actual comments and responses by players, and put them into report card grading style. And so this is the Packers report card. They have 11.
From the stitches.
Actually, overall, the Packers were really good. I think we were ranked 6th overall in the entire league, like cumulative. But I can just go through it here, especially because I know the podcast won't be able to see the graphic. But so for treatment of families, the Packers got a C+, which was their lowest grading, and will actually, I don't have a graphic on that one, but the main criteria or thing that knocked the grade down for the Packers was that they do not offer daycare help for kiddos when their parents had games. During game day, no game day daycare facilities or help is available, though they do have a family room available on site at Lambeau.
Like a holding cell,
maybe? No, probably a lot nicer than that.
All right.
I would say. Food and cafeteria was a B+, which ranked 6th. I think that was freshness of the food, taste of the food, stuff like that. And yeah, stop me if you have questions about it. I have on another tab, I have like some of the details. I just don't have it pulled up so that it doesn't do any lagging. Nutritionist and dietitian was a B. That's ranked 14th out of 32. Locker room, which has to do with individual space and the quality of the locker room facilities, is B-, ranked 15th. Training room, I believe this had a lot to do with space and facility things available, such as like hot tubs and cold tubs and things like that. B, which ranked 11th. Training staff, a B, which ranked 16th. Weight room was an A. 7th, the quality of the weight room equipment and the amount of space they had was ranked really good. Strength coaches, A- at 8th. People said that the strength coaches they felt like contributed greatly to the team's success, which is kind of interesting considering they fired the head strength coach just this a little bit ago, I think. So
yeah.
We'll have to see how that changes. Team travel, B+, which is 4th. Players felt that they had enough space when traveling, and they weren't required to have roommates while traveling, which I think I'm real glad to hear that they don't make people buddy up in hotel rooms right before a game. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. And the ownership, Jacob, you got an A, bro. Good job. Look at there. All right, finished 6th in the league amongst the owners.
So I'll bring that up. I think this. I don't know, Jacob, if this is actually, I might have to rain on his parade, because I'm pretty sure that this is not actually talking about owners, but rather Mark Murphy, since he's the one that controls the money and he's the one that gets to decide what gets upgraded. But they're saying he does a really good job at it, so that's good.
Man, Jacob, they dangled the carrot and took it right away from you, dude. How about that, man? You know what I'm saying?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot, he said. That's pretty cool, though, that they think so highly of Mark Murphy. But one thing that stood out to me, and I'm going to go back to one of the graphics here. This kind of it kind of popped off the screen to him. I'm going to be honest with you. So we turn right around, and like you said, we fire the strength coach, right? And when you look at the report card, the strength coach has got an A-, and the head coach got a B+. That's and then the head coach fired the strength coach. Jacob, is there anything there, man? What do you think about that, dude?
Yeah, I mean, that 21st overall for the head coach, that one kind of shocked me a little bit, but I don't know if that's, like I said, it sounds like that was other teams. It's not like it's just the Packers voting on their coach, which I'd be a little more concerned if,
so other teams voted on LaFleur too, you think?
I'm fairly certain. Didn't Carlos say that this is a conglomerate of like 1,700 players? So
yeah, so it'd have to be, right? Yeah.
That makes me feel like
it's the conglomerate of rankings, but they do it by each individual team. So each team's players' responses are separated out. So only Packers players are talking about the Packer head coach, the Packer facilities, the Packer, everything about the Packers. Nobody else is.
Kind of makes me feel.
What's that, Jacob?
92% of that. Just this helps break it down a little better. When you see a B+, you kind of think, and it's 21st. That's out of 32 teams. That to me doesn't seem great, but it says 92% of the players feel head coach Matt LaFleur is efficient with their time.
Okay.
I guess and they say the players feel that Matt LaFleur is moderately willing to listen to the locker room. 26th overall. Okay.
And something important to remember about this. So I was reading up on the gradings and how they actually give these, and they say that the B plus, like the letter grades, are a lot more important than the rankings. They give the rankings just to have, I guess, an idea, or for maybe some teams to have something to strive for to get better, right? To like everything thrives on competition, right? I think it's to put a little more competition into it, but the B plus overall is a really good grade. And the crap, I just lost my train of thought of what I was going to say about
Welcome
the
to my
player
world,
and Matt LaFleur. But yeah, it's a B plus is actually a really good grade. Oh, also, when this was done, I believe these were collected September through November, and I don't remember the exact dates, but if you look back at the schedule, we were not playing too hot during that time, and that was the time where there was a lot going on with players not feeling like maybe they were being used to their full potential or not doing things well. And then I think we might not even have had a winning game during all the time that these surveys were taken. And so that might have something to do with players thinking that Matt LaFleur was not really willing to listen to the locker room.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, culture is a problem when you're losing. When you're winning, you never seen a team have a bad culture problem when they're winning, right? It's funny how that works. Mark Zambito says, remember, this was done August and November when we had problems in the locker room. Very good point. Boz comes on and said, that's it. He says, look at us bouncing around. He says, that's it. Let's fire LaFleur. So we're back on the hashtag fire LaFleur track. Now, that's kind of cool, right? Deadfish says, when was the survey taken? If it was October, Matt LaFleur grade would have been lower than January. Yeah, that sounds like what happened there. And this, Jacob, this kind of feels like a little bit of the Pro Bowl voting and stuff too, right? Like it gets a little bit. Carly was pointing out, was it the Chiefs that finished real low, Carly? Is that right?
They were in the ranking. They were second to last.
Yeah, and they just won the Super Bowl. So that kind of made me think, were they trolling a little bit, Jacob? You know what I'm saying? As far as the Chiefs, like was everybody trolling? Of course, it happened in October. It couldn't have been, right? You didn't know they were going to win. It's kind of odd, isn't it?
Right, exactly. And I think so one of the things that the highest score for the Chiefs was for Andy Reid, the head coach, I believe was the highest. But like the facilities was really low, and they just announced a few days ago that they were going to start overhauling Arrowhead and put a lot of money in there. So I think that these things do get some things done. You know what I mean? Like people really are wanting to affect these and make these grades better because they want to get free agents, right? It's all about marketing and getting those skilled players when you want them.
Yeah, exactly. You got anything else to add to this, Jacob? Or is this I know
I think it's kind of interesting, just the fact that it's kind of a random, like non sequitur, but Madden, it seems like in the last 2 years, all of a sudden when you do like the franchise mode, that it gives you an option to dump money back into your stands, your concessions, your trade facility, all these kinds of things, which I don't know. It's just kind of weird that all of a sudden in the last 2 years, they start having a focus on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we got a little bit of a connection issue with you, Jacob. If you want to try to hop off, come right back on, it might clear it up. I know we got a delay. That's why we're talking over each other. No big deal if you can't, but that might fix that for you. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I think it's good they're doing it, Carly. And like you said, it being they haven't done it very often. This is the second year, I think. It'll probably get better as it goes on, a little more organized. We'll all understand exactly how everything's represented and all that. So appreciate you bringing that up, though. That's a pretty cool topic. I know I heard Andy Herman and other people talking about the other day. It's the Matt LaFleur and the strength coach thing kind of got me like, oh. And then we ended up firing. I mean, that was one of the highest grades we had, right? So, it being an A minus. So, it was what? Let's see what it was. It was the third highest grade, right, on the whole list in random out of town. Which, and then again, the training staff is that the problem with the Hammies, right? It kind of seems like the strength and conditioning coaches, they took the fall there. But We'll see, man. We'll see if the hamstrings get fixed, right? That's going to be it's going to be huge moving forward for sure because they have definitely been a problem here in Green Bay. Jacob, you got anything you want to kick off with, man, as far as like draft talk, anything you want to cover specifically or want me to dive into? Again, the RASs aren't up on the website yet. I think they're still having trouble, but I can pull up MathBomb's Twitter account and we can comb through those linebacker RAS cards if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just overall, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I guess surprised at the lack of decent scores coming from that linebacker group. I mean, you had some guys like Peyton Wilson and Edgerrin Cooper that, scored really, really well. But overall, as a group, there was a lot of guys that were very low on the RAS that I thought would do a lot better.
Got it. All right, let's do it. Let's just pull it up real quick. Let me hit the chat, make sure we're not missing anything. Boz took a little shot here. He's getting in on the action. He says, AFAM sponsored by Lady Foot Locker. I like it. There you go. Paul Robertson, this is a good question too. Carly, do you think you could do a little research on your phone and figure this out? Paul Robertson said, I want to know who was the worst graded coach. The coach that
I actually just looked it up and it was the Raiders. Who I think didn't they fire their coach mid-season?
Oh, Josh McDaniels, wasn't it? Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, poor McDaniels. Yeah, that makes sense. So
yeah,
I bet Mark Davis got that report card. Jacob was like, "Oh yeah, let's get this guy out of the building right now." That's probably exactly what happened there. Steve in the chat said Atlanta and the Bears are working out a trade deal for Fields. I know no trades can happen yet, but what is said that they are working out a deal for when the trade can actually happen. Good stuff, Steve. Appreciate the update there, man. I tweeted something about it the other day and had a Packer fan come at me and tell me it was fake news. I was like, okay. And it's literally the guy comes back and says, you're really going to go with this one lone source? And then I posted like 6 different people that were tweeting about it that had like over 50,000 followers. And he was like, well, it's still not a story. It's not true. Okay, knucklehead. There you go. And it seems like it's going to happen. I think he's from Atlanta. And you guys are probably going, why are we talking about that? Listen, it affects the Chicago Bears, right? I'll be honest with you. I was hoping they would keep Justin Fields, right? I don't want them to get the next superstar quarterback. Now, whether that's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whoever, I was kind of hoping they would keep doing the same thing over and over. But, yeah, there you go. So, all right, let's do it. Let's pull up MathBomb's Twitter account here real quick. We'll go full screen. I'm going to zoom in. Jacob, if you got anybody specifically in mind, you let me know. I can try to find them. We could just roll through them too. I could kind of key in on my top linebackers if you want me to go that route as well. We can do it however you want. Anybody specifically you wanted to see right off the bat, though, we can jump right into that first.
No, I mean, do you have some? Is that old players on the bottom that I see there? Is it Darius Smith and Vontaze Burfict and?
Yeah. This is all the media that he shared. So he was just comparing some of the players, but I can scroll through real quick and try to find some of the linebackers that he posted. So yeah, this would be like, for instance, here's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Can you guys see that one? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I apologize for anything inappropriate in the comments over there. I can do nothing about that. That's his Twitter account. And I definitely want to give him credit. This is at MathBomb. This is the guy who founded the whole RAS website and everything, does an excellent job. And he's been sharing these, I guess, because the website's been down a little bit too. So we can't just go in there and pull the information ourselves. But with that being said, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. obviously didn't do anything. Looks like he did do the shuttle and the 3-cone, though, Jacob. And that looked like booty cheeks, didn't it, man? I mean, he got, a 4.9 in the shuttle, and then the 3-cone was a 7.13, which graded him out to a 6.7 in the 3-cone, and then the shuttle was a 4.9 grade. So he's starting off really, really poor, especially with his size. I mean, he's 6 foot 228 is what he officially measured in at. So he hit 6 foot on the dot. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is one of those players. I think he's probably going to fall because of his size. And if you turn on the tape, you go, "Let's play some football, man." Yeah, if he falls to somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th round, somebody's going to get a good player, I think. Jacob, what do you think, man?
Yeah, definitely undersized. He reminds me of remember Zach Thomas?
Yes, exactly.
The dude was very undersized, but he could just, once the tape started, dude, that guy was an animal. I hope that Trotter's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's sometimes what happens with these players too. They get humbled a bit, right? And they're going to come out with their hair on fire. They're not going to be reading their press clippings like some of the first rounders. Not all of them, but some of them. You guys know how it is. Every year there's there's a handful of players that you could just tell they're like, yeah, I'm a first round talent, and they get their butts handed to them. Here's Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State. His is obviously incomplete as well. He measured in at 6'2", 233. So you can see his height got him a score of 7.8. Got him. And I'm getting a bad feedback there somehow, some kind of echo. Vertical, 32.5 inches at 4.92. And then we got a broad jump of 908. That gives him a score of 5.7. His shuttle was sitting at a 4.24, which gave him a score of 8.39. What do you think about Tommy Eichenberg, Jacob? I know he wasn't very high on the list. He definitely wasn't in my top 7, but that's a guy that last year, remember, a lot of people were talking about him, wasn't they, going into the draft year?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State linebackers, you always got to kind of, I think, keep an eye on between Eichenberg and then what's the other one, Steel Chambers. Two guys that probably didn't grade out as well as they would hope, but they're Ohio State linebackers, so I feel like they're going to get drafted. They may just maybe hurt their draft stock a little bit by not performing very well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's see who's up next here. Let me try to find some of these guys on mine. Now, Junior Colson didn't do anything, right, Jacob? He didn't run at all, so he didn't do anything. So Peyton Wilson will be the first one on my list. He's a second linebacker. Looks like that's him right there. Now, he absolutely showed up and showed out, man. That dude obviously had a strong showing. His RAS score came to a 9.81. He was 6'3". That gave him a score of 9.6. His weight was 233. That score was a 4.9. So definitely, like you said yesterday, right? He was kind of tall and skinny, is what you were saying.
Yep.
That showed up there in the RAS for sure. Vertical jump 34.5. That gave him a 7.2. Broad jump 911. That gave him a 7.3. 40-yard dash 4.43 for a score of 9.95. Almost a perfect RAS when it comes to the 40-yard dash. His 20-yard split in that 40-yard dash. And just for anyone who hears 20-yard split, 10-yard split, and don't know what that means, they run the 40-yard dash, but in the first 10 yards, they've got a time set aside for it, right, which will be your 10-yard split. And then the first 20 yards, they've got it. And most of the time, scouts don't focus on the 40-yard dash for like offensive linemen, but that 10-yard split is very important to them because that shows their quickness. They don't need the big fella to get up to full speed, right? They want to know how quick he is, though, they're in the pit. So, yeah, Peyton Wilson.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about that for you guys?
Yeah.
What do you think about? So part of me wishes that they would have them do this 40-yard dash or even 10-yard dashes or something like that, like 30 times and then time them, because I want to know how they maintain that speed when they're doing it over and over and over. Because if you can get real fast the first or second time, but then you drop off really fast as well, I would rather have a little slower player that can maintain that over 30, 40 snaps a game, because that is really at the end of the game where you see who those guys are tired. And I don't think it's just conditioning. There is something too about how your muscles use energy. And if you can do those sprinting, those high acceleration, those explosive plays over and over, you're going to be a better football player.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if you ask the owners and you ask the general managers, hey, would you rather them run it 50 times? They go, heck yeah. But you ask the players, they don't want to run it once, right? You got a lot of people who are now choosing to not even compete in the combine because they're like, they don't want to hurt their draft stock, right? And that's one of those things too, that it's a big talking point right now in mainstream football media. I think again, Carly, I would love to see that. Jacob, I think it's a great idea, don't you? Like that would really give you a little bit deeper look at the player. But as a player, I'm going, heck no, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, if I personally would love to see it, but I don't think the NFLPA would ever allow that to happen. I feel like they'd put in some sort of negotiations to make sure that they weren't getting paraded around out there. I mean, because that's just, in their eyes, that's just 50 opportunities to get hurt or to, like Clayton said, ruin their draft stock or to hurt their money. So I don't see it happening.
Yeah. And the other thing with it too is like that kind of, I don't know, it piques my interest. The talking point I was talking about is people right now, they're, you got players that are going, well, I wouldn't run it. I wouldn't even go to it. If you want me, you've seen the tape, you can draft me, right? And I can understand that aspect, right? As an owner or as a GM, you can just choose not to draft that player for not contributing, right? But also as a player, like it's an opportunity for you to show them what you can do too, right? So I can see both sides of the argument. And I guess the way I stand, somebody don't want to. It doesn't bother me when a player doesn't go to the combine, right? It's like, okay, they choose not to go, great, just don't draft them then if you got an issue with it, right? That's kind of how I see that. I don't know how you guys see it, but it's definitely a talking point right now because you got a lot of people who are kind of dropping out. Has anybody been keeping up with Caleb Williams and some of the stuff he's saying, by the way? Because he's starting to show a little bit of what I was talking about. Jacob, have you seen any of it, man?
I'm trying to
hang on just a second.
What were you gonna say, Carly?
That's what she was gonna say. The Amelia?
Yep, that's it. That's all.
Okay, got it. Okay, gotcha. Do you know what I'm talking about, though, Jacob? Have you seen anything on that?
Yeah. I mean, he just, in my heart of hearts, I don't think the dude wants to be in Chicago at all. I mean, why would he want to? But I would not be surprised if he ends up being a massive headache, like Bron said.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just one of those things like Ari Mirov. I just poured it up on Twitter here, okay? And Ari Mirov tweeted out, USC quarterback Caleb Williams said that he won't undergo any medical evaluations at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. Instead, he will only do medical work with teams he visits before the draft. Not 32 teams can draft me. There's only one of me. That's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, I don't have a problem with him choosing not to test with everyone, right? I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is there's only one of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
I'm telling you, there's something there, guys, that it continues to just kind of pop up when it comes to Caleb Williams. It'd be different if you show me a former Hall of Fame quarterback that's worthy of the number one pick, that's putting, F this team, painting it on his fingernails and stuff.
I was just wondering if they had a good nail person in on like all those interviews or not, and like if they don't have a good nail lounge or whatever in town, he's not coming.
He could be using it as leverage too, right, Carly? Like he could be using it as leverage because he doesn't want to go to Chicago, right?
Right.
Like,
anything he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, how do you feel about it, Carly? I don't know how much you've kept up with Caleb Williams. Do you have a problem with the way kind of he's acted in this and that, just throughout that last year of college football, or even really 2 years back? Or you think Clayton's just being the get off my lawn guy?
No, I think that there's, if you watch closely, people are going to tell you who they are, right? So you're not going to have him come in and then all of a sudden be this great leadership guy with these intangibles and all these things that we say are really important at that quarterback position, especially for someone that you want to have longevity in your team and be someone that eventually can help younger guys develop. And so, but I also feel like as far as his maturity level, what it seems like, right? I'm not surprised. He seems very much like a typical, however old he is. And I think and hope he'll get, for his own sake, that he'll get kind of a reality check and maybe some humility once he gets to the NFL and realizes how big it is and how many great people there are. I do see some warning signs from just what I've seen, but he really does have some amazing skills. And I can understand if he doesn't want to go to the Bears. They don't have the greatest track record on developing quarterbacks. And I would want to go, if I were him, I would want to go somewhere where I knew that my skills would be developed and I would continue to get better. And but I think he's also probably not playing things very smart in terms of his outspokenness and all that. And I guess that's just something he's hopefully going to learn or not, and he won't last very long.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you use that number one pick, especially when you got other teams that might be interested in trading up, whether it's for Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, anybody, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., someone might want to hop up and get the best wide receiver in the draft. When you say, no, we're staying put and we're taking this guy and there's question marks around the character, around, the maturity, all that stuff, man, it can get a little bit scary. Jacob just texted me. He said he's having trouble with his internet and he's getting angry. He's about to punch his screen. So he may be back on. He may not. We'll see what happens. Emilio, he needs some of that Tennessee internet. You know what I'm saying?
The Kmart's, they're running out of the dial-up, but honestly, no, Jacob's got that good connection. He started looking good too with the light coming in the side, the sunshine coming in. We're all dark and gloomy over here, and he's got that twinkle in his eye.
Got that Wisconsin sunsplash cheekbone there, right?
That's it.
My man, I'll tell you this. cracks me up. He's not on here to defend himself, and you immediately go after him like he's over there. Just
he's calling me out in the chat. That's all right.
Yeah, I feel like he's over there rifling through the old AOL CD. You know what I'm talking about? Trying to get that free whatever it was, 100 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
That was the good old days. You'd spend 45 of those free 100 minutes just trying to get the damn thing to load. Y'all
just
remember
waiting?
Those? Yeah. Oh my gosh, Carly, do you remember the AOL CDs, or are you too young?
No, I remember them. That was the first. I didn't even have a computer in my house, I think, till I was a sophomore in high school. And then, yeah, I remember getting my grandma had a computer with AOL before I did. So whenever we'd go there, I would sit down in her basement and log on to the chat rooms and, all that crazy stuff and that sound. Man, I remember it.
I remember that little stick figure, going across the loading screen into the AOL triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hated seeing that guy, man. Hey, it's like a bear. Had a bear's snapback on, just walking across the screen every single time. Eric Sutherland says Jacob wears a DeMarcus Russell signed jersey as a night shirt.
Oh, hey, speaking of signed things, can I interject something real quick?
Absolutely.
So when I was looking up some of the information about the NFL Players Association stuff, I ran across, let me see if I can pull it up here. I ran across some, they have auctions there of some signed stuff. And so I want to show you, this one is going on today and it ends later tonight. It's a Christian Watson signed panel ball and it's at $100. And then a Jaden Reed signed mini helmet. And both of those are going on right now at, let me see if I can drop down to that comment there so that you guys can see where it's at, because I left the
there you go. I got
thing
you.
On. You got it? Yeah, oh wait, it's not. I guess it's not down there. That's on the website. It's right at the bottom. NFL auction. There you go. NFLauction.nfl.com. And two things from our Packer players if anybody's interested in bidding on those or picking them up. So
there you go. Go get them. Go get them while they're hot.
Mm-hmm.
Hot off the press. That comment we had, I don't know if we had it marked or not. It was something about, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, we do. Okay, cool. David Mitchell said, why would he or any other quarterback want to go to Chicago? It would be a real hard division to win, and their history of quarterbacks may be the worst in the NFL. I mean, and it's like, okay, who's leading the charge there, right? Who's going to be developing the quarterback? Did they end up who was it they brung in as their OC? I just deleted the new coach's graphic. And this is for those of you who are ambitious and want to start a podcast. One of the rules of thumb, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. And I just screwed the pooch there. So let's see who the Chicago Bears OC is. I want to see.
I've got Shane Waldron. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah. Shane Waldron. And he was in Seattle. So he did some good things with Geno Smith. 2 years ago, Geno Smith was kind of an MVP candidate. So I would feel okay about Shane Waldron kind of mentoring my rookie quarterback.
I think, honestly, it takes a special kid, to come up and want to step up into that mess. If he's like, all right, I'm gonna shoot to be, the first 4,000-yard passer, all that stuff. I think that's kind of the mentality they got to go in with. Mm-hmm. Caleb is not going in with that mentality. So I would say that's a no-go for me. That's a non-fit. So he must have been upset that the dartboard and the mini golf putt setup they had in their meeting room wasn't big enough or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Steve in the chat said Caleb Williams doesn't have an agent yet. Is that right? If that's so, he can return back to college if things don't work out. That's right. Once you sign an agent, well, I don't know, it may be even different there now, Steve. I'm not sure, but it used to be once you signed an agent, you couldn't go back to college, right? If I understood correctly. But 18 hours ago, Sports Illustrated said USC football, Caleb Williams does not intend to sign with an agent. So there's still a chance he could return to college football then.
Even if he gets drafted? Or no? How's that work?
I don't know, man. It's the Wild West.
Right? Oh, there you go. I did the same thing you just did. Ask a question.
Oh, yeah. How would it work?
Yeah. Bunch of amateurs over here trying to run a pod, man. It's hilarious. Leading the blind leading the blind. Let's see here. David Mitchell said, worse yet, Caleb, he could be the next Johnny Manziel. Very true. I'm telling you, man, that's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And when I made that first comment about Caleb Williams a year and a half ago, there was a couple people come at me and go, oh, Clayton's being racist. What are you talking about? I compared him to Johnny Manziel. Like, you know what I mean? Let me give you an example. since everybody wants to play the race card, CJ Stroud, you go talk to that cat, and he is like, you're not going to find a better leader. You're not going to find a better leader of your organization. I've said it 1,000 times. I mentioned that Caleb seems like a knucklehead, like Johnny Manziel, and had one or two. Anyway, just cracks me up, man. People just want to divide. But, so let's keep climbing through these real quick, these RASs. You can still see that image, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try to zoom in one. This was one that got a lot of talk yesterday out of Kentucky. Traven Wallace, linebacker out of Kentucky. Ball skills didn't look great yesterday, but his height, 6 foot, came in at 6'1", a little bit undersized, a score of 4.9. His weight, 237 for a score of 6.4. Other than that, a pretty good day at the office, Emilio.
Yeah.
Vertical jump, 37.5 inches for a 9.1 score. Broad jump, 10.07 for a score of 9.6. 40-yard dash, 4.51 for a score of 9.7, and a 20-yard split of 2.6 for a score of 9.47. 10-yard split was 1.62. So took a little bit to get the momentum going there. His 10-yard split is quite a bit lower than what his 20-yard split grade would be. So one of those guys that maybe not as quick as he is top end speed. He didn't do any agility testing, so who knows what his true RAS would have been, but he definitely turned some heads there yesterday. That's a guy that here's the guy that people aren't talking about, and until yesterday, of course. So I'm excited to see if his draft stock rises. What do you think about him there, man?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of – it's kind of like a Peyton Wilson right there, a little bit more weight on him, a little bit less on the height there, but it's the same sort of idea. They're both green across the board. 10-yard split is the only thing Peyton's got on him, really. It's crazy how, once you start breaking them down into like decimals and numbers like this, they're not that far apart, and they're maybe, 0.3, 0.6, difference in speed and times and stuff like that. It's crazy how minute the differences are that really, come down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Let's see here. So obviously Junior Colson didn't run. We hit Peyton Wilson. Let's see if we can find Cedric Gray in these images real quick. And again, we're on Math Bomb's Twitter account. You guys go give him a follow, give him a like. He's also got pinned at the top of his Twitter account a GoFundMe. All this information he provides it for free. But if you just want to go throw a tip in the jar, I know he would greatly appreciate it. He didn't pay me to say that. I know I'm going to donate to him just because I use this information every year, and I don't know. It's just so cool to have people that take the time to bring this type of insight. So here's Cedric Gray. He's my third highest linebacker on my board. He's sitting in the number 66 spot. Okay, Cedric Gray came out with an 8.92, so pretty good RAS score there. Height was 6'1", 4/8. That's a score of 5.8. His weight was 234 pounds, a score of 5.2. Vertical jumping out of the building, 35.5 for a score of 8.03. Broad jump was 1.000. 7.80 was his broad jump score. And then you have the 40-yard dash, a 4.64, but you can see, as long as you're in the low 4.6s, you're still going to get a decent grade there at linebacker. That gave him an RAS of 8.1. 20-yard split was 2.69 for a grade of 7.8. 10-yard split, 1.59 for a grade of 8.73. So again, I think he pretty much stabilized where he was on the board. Peyton Wilson definitely improved his stock. We'll see what Junior Colson does at the pro day. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I don't want to say he hurt himself because he didn't do a whole lot. I don't think you were on here when we were talking about him, Emilio. He just done a couple of drills, and the drills that he did hit, man, it was pretty bad. I'll pull it up for you here. You can see, obviously he measured out 6 foot even for 228 pounds. Very, very undersized. His shuttle was 4.4. Which gave him a score of 4.9, and his 3-cone was 7.13, which gave him a score of 6.7. So didn't do anything else, man. His pro day better be off the charts, bro, or he's really hurt himself.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. I was just looking to see if he had anything, and that was the only thing I saw was the 3-cone. He's tied with Steel Chambers, but that's not saying anything. There's only 3 people that's run, so that's tough, man. When your 3 things were height, weight, and then a couple cone drills. You didn't show out enough, so he's definitely gonna have to produce on his pro day.
Yeah, Carla, you got anything to add here? Anything you want to hit on or anything?
Not this guy. I did have a thought. I typed in the private chat so we can get to it later if there's time.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to rattle through these real quick. Edgerrin Cooper comes in as the number 5 linebacker on my board, sitting in the number 87 overall spot. Obviously, his RAS here, a 9.34, looked good. 6'2", so decent height. Weight was 230, a little bit undersized there at a 3.8. His vertical jump, 34.5 for a score of 7.2. His broad jump, 910 for a score of 6.9. And then the 40-yard dash, a 4.51 for a score of 9.72. 20-yard split was a 2.62 for a score of 9.47. And then his 10-yard split, a 1.54 for a score of 9.7 there. He didn't do any agility testing to the best of my knowledge, unless they just haven't got it in the system yet. So Edgerrin Cooper, sitting number 5 in the linebacker room on my board, seems to have helped himself there for sure. Emilio, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it's hit they're stuck with the height factor. Weight we can work on a little bit, but man, it's crazy what like 3 or 4 pounds does. 230 versus 233 versus 234, you'd get into the yellow. But not jumping quite out of the gym, but he's quick. I like it.
Yeah. And the man of the hour is back, as Paul Robertson says, Jacob has a leash for his iguana. Jacob, how's the internet now, man? How we doing?
I don't know. You guys tell me.
You're crystal clear.
You're beautiful as ever, man. You kidding me?
The way that sun hits you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, what do you think about Edgerrin Cooper?
Flashes off the silver in his beard.
It really does.
Hey now.
Edgerrin
Cooper, I think, drastically improved his draft stock yesterday. He ran real quickly, and he looked just like a really good, solid player. I think he helped himself quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I think so too, man, and I think he'll probably climb a bit. Like I said, I got him at number 87 on my board. I don't know where he sits on the consensus right now. I've got so many I got more windows open than a trailer park over here, boys. I'm afraid to open anything else, the whole thing's going to crash. So, up next we would have our boy Edefuan Ulofoshio. All right, let's see if we can find his card real quick. I know we hit on a couple of these last night, but let's see if we can find him. And it's spelled different than I had to put the pronunciation on my sheet here, because I know Jacob likes to correct me every draft year because I am dumber than a brick. Let's see here. Ulofoshio. You guys see him anywhere? I don't see him anywhere.
I can't even read that.
That's because you're drunk this early in the morning, Emilio.
It's called Irish cream. It's not called drunk.
I love it. Let's see here. Let me just take one quick gander through. I want to make sure. Yeah, here we go. Bang. 9.55, Jacob. Holy cow. And his height was 6 foot, right? 6 foot even. 6 foot and 4/8 of an inch. His score would be a 3.3 there. His weight was 236 pounds for a score of 6.08. Vertical was 39.5 for a score of 9.76. Broad jump, 1008 for 9.75 score. Your 40-yard dash is a 4.56 for a score of 9.33. 20-yard split, 2.64 for a score of 9.09. And the 10-yard split, 1.59 for a score of 8.73, giving you a grand total of 9.55 was his RAS. He definitely helped himself, didn't he, man?
Mm-hmm. For real, though, why don't they just have a couple burgers before they, weigh in? Because if they get, 4 or 5 more pounds, they're, in the yellow and the green. I don't get it. I mean...
Yeah, better yet, do it like Michael Scott, right? Yeah, just eat some Alfredo before you go out.
Carb load.
Carb load. What do you think about him, though, Jacob?
He's definitely somebody I think that, again, helped his draft stock improve, because I thought that he was – I don't remember what his consensus was, but I thought that he was below the top 100. But when he runs like that, I think he might have possibly ran himself into a top 100 type pick. Maybe being like the 5th or 6th linebacker picked, kind of thing. I think he was maybe around the 9 or 10. And I think he probably cut that in half just from just being a quick guy. He looked good too.
I got him number 6 on my board amongst linebackers, and he's 128 on the overall board. So, yeah, I think you're right. He probably does jump up in the top 100 now, man, with that kind of physical performance for sure. I'll see if I can find Michael Barrett. Is there anyone else you wanted to see, Jacob, as I come through and try to find Michael Barrett real quick?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of There was a guy named, oh, it's going to drive me nuts.
Who had the worst showing?
Yeah, well, a lot of them had really bad showings.
That's exactly what Jacob said when we went live. He went, man, there's some cheeks in this linebacker. Man, yeah, so true.
Could you pull up Jalen Ford right there? That was one I was a little surprised about because he was supposed to be kind of a real good athletic guy, and he just had a meh. Well, he didn't look like he didn't even do the.
Yeah, didn't do the 40, didn't do the agility. He's probably going to hold out to the pro day. So his is incomplete, but his height, he came in at 6'2", 240, pretty decent size there. Vertical 33.5. I mean, not horrible, but didn't jump out the gym. 6.11 was his grade, and his broad jump, a 1001 for 8.28. So broad jump showed some explosion there. You know, that I kind of take both those numbers together, you know what I'm saying, and go, okay, it wasn't like horrible vertical, but the broad kind of made up for it. I would put his composite explosion grade probably in the 7s. You know what I'm saying? So not bad. Especially if the tape looks good. Obviously, he played in the big time program there at Texas.
Can you pull up Morris Lafau, the Notre Dame guy? He had what was that? How did he pronounce it?
I'm sure you crushed it.
Yeah, no, you crushed it.
Okay. Yeah. Leafoo is what I'd probably say. You know what I'm saying? Lafau. I think you're right. I think I heard DJ say that. So, his is still incomplete, it says right now. So he didn't do any explosive testing. He didn't do any agility testing. But his height was 6'2" and 1/8, giving him a score of 7.4. And then his weight was 234 pounds for a score of 5.2. His 40-yard dash was 4.64 for a score of 8.1. 20-yard split, 2.69 for a score of 7.80. And then his 10-yard split was a 1.59 for a score of 8.73. So you see the 10-yard split was the strength of his 40-yard dash. So probably going to have, I'd say his agility testing will go good, and his explosiveness testing will probably go good too there. More the explosion than the agility, because typically someone who gets off with a real fast 10-yard split will have a good vertical, good explosion, good broad, that type of thing. So how do you feel about him out of Notre Dame? Got to be a smart player playing at Notre Dame, man, with the academics and everything up there.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be really smart, but also, like Mark Zambito just said, his wingspan for his height, he has like freakishly crazy long arms. Like the way that whatever you call it, like that scale while you're supposed to be kind of symmetrical kind of thing. This dude has like 6-inch longer arms than he should, kind of like a Preston Smith, where he's just going to be grabbing people all creepy. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, his arm length, it looks like they got him at 34 1/4. Okay, is what it looks like to me. 34.25. So there you go with that.
We could get those measurements. We could get our measurements going for hand size and arm length. We can get our RAS build going. Start working on it.
All right, you knucklehead. All right, so that's the top 7 on my linebacker group there. Is there anyone else you want me to try to comb through and find? Jacob, again, my top 7 are Junior Colson, who didn't perform, Peyton Wilson, Cedric Gray, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who basically didn't perform, and what he did perform was booty cheeks, Edrin Cooper, Ulofoshio, and then Michael Barrett, which I didn't see Michael Barrett anywhere on here. I'll try to comb through one more time, though, because you had asked me to look for someone else just to make sure I didn't overlook him. Anybody else, Jacob, you can think of, man?
Could you pull up Cedric Gray's? I didn't see his charts. Maybe I was offline when you guys did that, but
yeah, you were feeding the iguana.
You did pull him up already? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it again right here. 8.92.
Oh, so wow, that's a lot better than I thought. Yeah. Okay. And then the other one that I was. What about Tyrese Knight?
Tyrese, I did see his name too. Let's see.
Aaron Jones, an Aaron Jones guy, Texas El Paso. Oh, I watched that interview. That coach was like, "Dude, this is the best guy I've ever coached in my entire life. Like, he is an absolute freak athlete."
So there you go. You're talking about Tyrese Knight, right? Out of UTEP.
Yep.
7.51. His height came in 6 foot and 4/8 of an inch. You have his weight at 233. That's a score of 4.9. His height was a score of 3.3. Vertical jump 34.5 for a score of 7.2. Broad jump 911 for a score of 7.32. And then you have the 40-yard dash, 4.63 for a score of 8.3. 20-yard split, 2.69 for a score of 7.80. 10-yard split, 1.54 for a score of 9.78. So you see a lot of quickness there in the 10-yard split with his acceleration. Composite agility grade was okay. His shuttle was 4.4 for a score of 4.90. His three cone was 7.25 for a score of 5.00. Like I said, a grand total of 7.5. So not horrible, but I don't think he really improved his draft stock too much there.
Right.
And he pretty much did everything, right? So there you go. And comparing wingspan, like you were just talking about, the other guy was like, 34.5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Knight's wingspan is 2 inches shorter, so 32.5. So just to kind of give you an idea of some of these guys and how they're built. But
what about that Wisconsin backer?
Which one?
He did not grade well.
He did. Maima.
What'd you say?
No Jamenta.
This guy right here? Dang.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That looked like Mario scored there. Yeah, it says not applicable. I'm pretty sure sometimes when it's got the U, it means they perform so low that they didn't even stack up to anyone.
Gotcha.
I think that's how it works. But his height, he was 5'11 and 6'8". His weight was 229. He did not do the bench press. No explosive testing, no agility testing. I imagine that would probably be his strength there, was his agility.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
40-yard dash, 4.9 for a score of 1.9. 20-yard split, 2.83 for a score of 2.1. And then his 10-yard split of 1.63 for a score of 7.1.
Do have his 20-yard shuttle on NFL. It's 4.66, which is, Tommy Eichenberg's 4.24. So,
golly, yeah, so
that's tough.
Yeah, not looking good, man. Sorry, Jacob. So,
sorry, Jacob.
The Badgers not showing up this year, are they, man?
No, not a good year.
Who do you think's the best player? Who do you think's the best player for Wisconsin coming out in this draft? Is it Braylon Allen, you think?
Unfortunately, probably, yeah. Until we got that cornerback, though, who's just going to be a beast next year.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Let's see here. Reef in the chat said a lot of those rookies had problems following directions and retaining the information that was told to them. Might have been nerves. I know I would have been nervous too, but I noticed that too. Some of them were kind of like
they had to stop the drill multiple times. The guy's like, "I don't know what you mean by it." He's like, "Either come forward or go backwards."
Yeah.
Oh.
What don't you understand? We laugh, but I'd be the same guy. I'd be out there, man. I'd be nervous.
You got to be nervous.
Yeah. Steve in the chat says, yesterday when I was watching the combine, I liked Cedric Johnson from Ole Miss, I believe, and Braden Fisk from Florida State looks very, very promising. Yeah, Braden Fisk really helped his stock.
Is he the new Aaron Donald?
I'll tell you, he beat Aaron Donald in some of the numbers.
Did he?
Yeah, that dude is he seems to be the real deal. And, like sometimes you got to listen kind of close to like scouts like Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. Sometimes it's what they don't say that speaks the loudest, but then sometimes it's how they say things. He cut Rich Eisen off in mid-sentence and said, "Hey, Rich, you're going to want to pay attention to this one." And the guy ran the 40-yard dash. So he says that, and I'm over here writing something down for the pod, and I heard him say that, and I looked over because it kind of caught my attention. So I look at the screen, and then he gets off the line, and I went, "Oh." And then as soon as he hits the line, he goes, "Oh, yeah." He said he crossed it, and I was going, "Who is it? Wait, hold up. Braden Fisk. Let me look him up."
I didn't know Kool-Aid was running.
Yeah, it was hilarious because he was so smooth when he said it, too. He knew he crushed it. So that's a guy that's going to jump up. But these are the things we talk about, right, Jacob? You guys, I've said it probably more than anyone, and I get criticized for it, maybe rightfully so, but I'm like, I don't want to put too much stock in this stuff. Focus mostly on the tape and give the bonuses where you need to give the bonuses. Like, okay, no other player has done that, right? Like Braden Fisk, he should be rewarded for that performance. I'm just not going to penalize people who perform bad when you got, 2 years of tape where they dominated and then all of a sudden, Now the Wisconsin guy, I've never heard the name. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but it's like, it'd be different if he was like, this guy was going to be a top 10 pick and he performed like that. And I look at the tape and go, you know what? I'm not so concerned about that. The tape shows he's fast enough. But yeah, you just gotta take each. If you're going to be the person to go, I'm really going to sit down and evaluate these players. I'm not that guy. I'm more of an information gatherer. But if you're going to be one of those people, you really do got to put them on an individual basis and go, okay, let's put everything into perspective as far as what does this actually mean in context with the draft. So there you go. All right, cool. So that was fun, man, to hit that. Carly, you've been just sitting over there being quiet, going, I don't even know why I'm on here hanging out with these knuckleheads. You got anything to add to the conversation? Anything at all you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm enjoying learning and hearing your guys' perspective. That's how you learn, right? Just absorb information and don't say stuff when you don't know anything. So I like hearing all about those people. But you guys, why don't you hit what Chris said, and then I'll bring up what I just learned about.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris says the most talent in the NFL is Braden Allen, but the one that is most successful in the NFL from the Badgers is Tanner Bortolini, offensive lineman. So he's saying that's the guy that's going to be the most successful in the NFL, but he thinks Braylon Allen has the most talent. Got it, Chris. Good stuff. What'd you learn, Carly?
So maybe I'm super behind on this stuff because I'm not really that connected in social media. But what Eric Sutherland said about Kool-Aid foot fracture is I just learned that Kool-Aid McKinstry was diagnosed with a Jones fracture of his foot, won't be doing anything at the combine. But that might make him fall pretty far, that he might actually be somebody that we're able to take if we're interested. Like, what do you guys think about that?
1 week ago, what we say, why is Kool-Aid dropping? Remember, Jake?
Yeah,
there it is. It finally came out.
Yep.
So when did that foot fracture happen? Right? Like, I don't remember it being announced. I mean,
it's got to have been when he kicked in the wall.
I see what you did there. Let me see if I got a sound bite for you, man. I don't know if I do or not. Let's see here.
This
is all you get right here. There you go. So, Tim added a bunch of stuff in there. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, we appreciate you, Tim. I like the sound bites more than the videos because it doesn't cut us out, you know. But at the same time, man, you can't beat this.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
Or the always favorite.
John Deere green on a hot summer night. He rode Billy Bob loves Charlie.
You know, that's the other thing too. They tweeted out another video or a picture or something that he had done here recently. The Packers tweeted something out about AJ Dillon. Kind of feels like the Packers keep buttering these free agents up a bit, don't they? Like, hey man, we love you here, dude. Give us a discount. That type of thing could be. So I don't know. You think he's going to be back, Jacob? How you feel on the surface there, man? AJ Dillon.
Yeah, I think he'll be back. I just think he's too good of a guy. The Packers invested too much into him. Draft wise, you know, I don't think they're going to let a second round. He was a second round, wasn't he? I don't think they're going to let him go. He's too connected to the community. And he is a good back. Like we've talked about, people forget that out of that whole running back draft class of that year, only Antonio Gibson has more yards from scrimmage than AJ Dillon. Mm-hmm. Everybody else has been cheeks. So,
right. And he shows up. I mean, like the only time he didn't play was when he broke his hand.
Yep.
Like, come on. If we're trying to keep hits off Aaron Jones, we're going to need a big back. Yeah, we're going to need a scat back to take some of those off because Aaron Jones isn't going to get the ball a lot in the first half of the season. We're gonna spike him a couple times here and there. He's not going to get the ball a lot. Matt probably really liked how efficient and how healthy he was at the end of the season. So let Aaron Jones or let AJ Dillon take the heat. Let Eric Wilson take some 6th, 7th round back, and let's just roll into the season.
Yeah, definitely. Chris in the chat said, "Good job, Clayton, on my horrible writing." Hey, listen, buddy. You write like I speak, so we're a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? He said, most talent going into the draft equals Braylon Allen. Most successful NFL carrier will be the O-lineman. Got it, buddy.
Career.
There we go. Did I read it wrong?
No, you read it right. You read it right.
Oh, Chris, get hooked on phonics.
I love it, man. Chris, you're in the right spot, buddy. Welcome aboard, my man. All right. There you go. Randy says, "I'm going to stop hearing about it, boys. Have to bring Dillon back."
Yeah.
Reef says, "I like Dillon, but he trips a lot."
It's where are you going to find quads like that, though?
Yeah.
Not like they just grow on trees.
I'll tell you this. I was kind of hard on Dillon early in the year watching him like that because I was just like, man, he's stumbling a lot. And I asked Mike Wall live on the air about it, and he went, "Clayton, he ain't got no hose. Like that dude's getting the ball, looking up and going, what the crap? He's trying to, you know." So I'm going to always kind of take a back seat to what a former NFL player says. He's seen it. And and as I started to watch later on, I'm going, man, Aaron Jones is just that good at cutting and making things happen where they're not. So to me, it was – and PFF agreed with Mike Wall, right? The way they graded A.J. Dillon, he had a pretty decent year. So, yeah.
Also, I like that his pad level. Say it again, Jacob.
AJ Dillon in college, when he was at Boston College, had the worst.
Oh no! Is he cutting out for you, Emilio? Look at him; he's froze too. We got to get a screen grab of that.
Yeah, he's cut out for me too.
Oh, there he is. We got him back. AJ Dillon in Boston College.
He had the worst graded offensive line in, I think, 2 of the 3 years he was there, or all 2 years he was there. So he's never had.
He's been dealing with that here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I do like that his pad levels literally have gone down each year. Like he's getting his feet under him. Like he's understanding the NFL. I don't see why we would just kick him to the curb. You know?
Yeah. And I thought he did good in the passing game last year. That was the thing I was impressed with. When Aaron Jones went down, it was like, man, Jordan started hammering that wheel route on time, and Dillon was making things happen. Man, there were several times that he had some good catch and runs. So I think we'll see him back for the right price. I hope we do, man. I love that dude. I just love everything he represents. He's such a good guy. So, all right, with that being said, we'll get out of here, gang. Carly, you got anything as we get ready to wrap up here? Anything else you want to hit?
Well, did I miss your guys' response if we would want Kool-Aid if he fell very far?
Oh, sorry. That was my bad.
Oh, yeah. We all were like, yeah, I mean, it depends on the injury itself, right? Like, is it something that's going to be long-term? And now what you're basically saying, if you have a player like that, are you willing to take a medical red shirt, right? Like, meaning, are you willing to just accept the fact that, hey, this injury may nag him the first year? That's the way I look at it. But I'm very, very conservative in that approach. Like, if someone has an injury coming in, I always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's kind of how I operate. So if you draft someone like that in the first round, if he does fall to you at number 25, right, and you draft him, you got to be prepared for him to sit, half, maybe even the whole season to get that thing right.
Do you know? So we know hamstrings kind of tend to recur, but the Jones fracture, from what I read, it sounds like he's going to get it fixed right away and be able to perform at the pro day. And then are Jones fractures something that normally recur? Do you guys know?
I have no idea. What about you, Amelia? You had any? I know you've got drunk a couple of times and kicked a bar stool. You ever had a Jones fracture?
No, I haven't had. So what's it say? Fracture is a fracture of the bone on the pinky toe side of your foot, the fifth metatarsal bone. But what I've ran into is like turf toe, where like you get that soft tissue in your foot, and it is always nagging. I mean, you feel that every game, every practice, every week until it's not something that goes away really easy. So if it is just a surgery and bam, you're good to go on the Jones factor, then send it. Because if he falls to us, look at the boards back in January, February, see where he's at. I mean, the dude's an athlete, and he can move with the ball in his hand. But
yeah. United Bates says, I'm reading that Kool-Aid McKinstry is sitting out the combine, but will do the pro day and get the injury fixed after. It should be 100% for camp. So he confirms what you were saying there, Carly, 100% for camp. So, Jacob, would you be cool with that? If Kool-Aid drops, I mean, that was a guy here's a guy that early in the process, that dude was the top corner in the draft, right? So I would be okay with it, man, as long as Goody obviously signs off on it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I'm a little gun shy. It says that most Jones fractures take at least 6 to 8 weeks to heal. And if he is going to wait until after the pro day to do it, I don't know. I don't like that idea. I'm so sick of lingering injuries in the off season. But if he falls and the right price is there, then yeah, I'd swoop him up. Swoop.
Yeah. Maybe it's a scenario too, where he falls, you trade back those 4 spots like we talked about, pick up an extra pick in the 2nd or 3rd round. Right. And then you end up taking Kool-Aid with the 29th pick or something. That would be freaking awesome, right? Yeah. Watch Goody trade up in the top 5 this year. Just surprise the heck out of all of us. It'd be hilarious, wouldn't it, man? Did
you guys see in his press conference that the very first question he was asked was about quarterbacks and the qualities that you look for and taking gambles on quarterbacks? Like literally, the very first question was about drafting a quarterback.
And do you know who was doing the interview by chance?
It was a press conference, so I'm not sure there were a lot of guys asking questions.
Gotcha. Sometimes he'll do like these sit-down interviews, and it's like, I had a video queued up. We're way over on time. We'll play it tonight. But it was Goody sitting down with Larry McCarron. Sometimes if you get a Larry McCarron or you hear that Spoon, Tom Silverstein talk to him, it's like they're trying to prepare fans for said scenario, right? It seems like I've heard quarterback get brought up several times this offseason. So that might be something that they're preparing the fan base for. Hey, look, we may take a quarterback if the right one's there. We said it during the season. Like, even when we said Jordan Love is the guy, if a quarterback is the most important positions, there's 2 different drafts every April. This is Greg Cosell 101. There's a quarterback draft, and then there's everyone else's draft. And they treat the quarterback as if they're on a tier higher than they currently are on their board, simply because it's that important of a position. If you had a Jaden Daniels somehow, some way fell to the Packers at 25, I am not going to be surprised at all if Goody takes him. If you had just something miraculous happen like that, right, that Caleb Williams all of a sudden sinks down the board like Aaron Rodgers, that people are, that'll never happen. They said the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. He was a slam dunk number 1 pick the night before. Next thing you know, he's falling in the draft like crazy. And I'm telling you, man, that's how they operate. That is how they operate. They would take a quarterback in a blink of an eye, and the fans would lose their mind like they did over Jordan Love. And then all of a sudden, everyone acts surprised, not Packer fans, but just the sports media in general, acts surprised that the Packers have done it again, because they're willing to think outside of the box. They're willing to draft a quarterback when they don't need one. I personally hope it doesn't happen, because I love Jordan Love, and I think we got our guy. But if it does happen, that means one thing. Goody had a higher grade on this quarterback than he did on Jordan Love, and he's going to take it. You know, people forget. I say it all the time too. Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers took over as quarterback, it was that year they drafted Brian Brom in the 2nd round.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sold that Aaron Rodgers was, hey, we don't need another quarterback. We're not sold on it. And Aaron Rodgers graded out enough for them to take him with whatever it was, the 24th pick. Is that what it was? 22nd, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we take 3 that year? Wasn't there a guy from LSU as well that we took?
Was it Matt Flynn that year too?
Matt Flynn, I thought.
Yeah, won a national title. Matt Flynn was definitely cut from the same cloth of like a Sean Clifford too. Like, he was one of those guys that fell down in the draft because he wasn't a sexy pick. But man, when you looked at his resume and everything, and it's like, that dude's played a lot of ball. That's kind of how Matt Flynn was there at LSU, coming out of LSU. So yeah, and then of course Matt Flynn comes in and ties the Packers single game touchdown record, right? That one game, remember that?
And he fleeced Seattle for a crazy salary, didn't he?
Oh, he got paid bang, man.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Good for you.
There you go, man. Hey, that's how the Packers operate, right? They're gonna take swings at quarterback. It's that important. And you think, when did that start, Clayton? When did that start? Brian Gutekunst is your general manager, right? Who trained him up? Ted Thompson. Who trained him up? Ron Wolf, right? Ron Wolf has been, he brings in Mike Holmgren, right, to be his head coach. Mike Holmgren has just worked hand in hand with Bill Walsh's whole systematic approach with the West Coast offense. What did Bill Walsh do? He had Joe freaking Montano, and he traded for Steve Young, and everybody thought he was crazy. And the next thing you know, Steve Young turns around and wins the Super Bowl for him. So that's just that's how they roll, man. Parting thoughts, Emilio, Jacob, you guys got anything?
Nothing. I mean, just keep supporting the stream, man. One of these days I'll have access again. I appreciate everyone, supporting me and trying to get me out of here. But yeah, just good morning, Lambeau. PTA live tonight. Let's get it.
Yeah, we got we still got our man Emilio on probation. We'll see how it goes. All right.
So wait a minute. Are we doing a Friday night show or no?
I think we probably are tonight. I'm going to double check with the boss downstairs, but I think she's still feeling pretty bad. I gave her what I had.
Nice.
And, so she's toughing it out down there, but she's feeling a lot better. I think it hit her pretty hard 2 days ago, so she's been recovering. But it's a good reason for her to lay on the couch and have me just basically spoon feed her everything and baby her. So there you go. That's the way that works. When I'm sick, she's like, go to the bedroom and spray Lysol and stay away from me. When she's sick, I'm over there fanning her, and some of you guys are going, you're full of crap, Clayton, and you are absolutely correct. So, all right, we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I want to thank everybody in the chat. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back tonight. Chris says, have a great day, everyone. As always, let's go out and be the change you want to see in the world. And go, Pack, go. He said it without a redneck accent, too, there, Jacob. What do you think about that? All right, we'll see you guys tonight. Everybody have a great day. Thank y'all for tuning in. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. We'll see you tonight.